on issues of world order is Henry Kissinger, so I'll try to channel him. And forgive me, Dr. Kissinger. But his answer would be, what do you mean, no new world order? We have not had a world order yet.
I remember talking to an Australian diplomat at one point about this break between the US and China and said, both sides are going to say, whose team are you on? And he said, our job is to make sure the question never arises. But the question has arisen. And so I think we have to go deeper. And it's not about the US versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private, but what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Because that's the only measure of whether a world order really serves.
It's a false narrative. The issue is government effectiveness and whether the people consider the government to be legitimate. Democracy is one way to achieve that. There are other ways to achieve it. And the legitimacy is gained by governments that can deliver the goods, effectiveness to their people, can deliver freedom, which people want, so ensure human rights, ensure freedom, but at the same time ensure order, ensure safety, ensure health care. And I think this new era of technological change going faster all the time, whether it's quantum computing or artificial intelligence or bioengineering, these technologies are morally neutral. And so the technologies can be used to enlighten, they can be used to deliver government services better, they can be used to repress, they can be used to surveil in a way that would be unhealthy. And so I think, to me, that's really important. I'm going to say just one other brief thing on sanctions, because I wanted to say this. The dollar, everyone's been predicting the demise of the dollar for a long time, and I think it has a long tail. But if you overuse sanctions, more and more people will try to find a way around them. But Putin, since 2014, moved as far away as he could from the dollar in the US, and still the G7 froze, for the first time in history, the assets of a central bank, a G20 central bank. It wasn't because the US did it, it's because the G7 did it, without the US and Europe together. And so I think it's really going to be a coalition of factors that will sort of decide whether or not one punishes. But I do think the dollar will last for a while yet, but it's not going to be America alone. It's not going to be America first. That's got to be America with others, and that's the only way, with our relative size and weight and GDP reducing, that the United States will indeed have influence in the world if the country just becomes much cleverer in building coalitions and working together with partners.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think. And we see inflation running rampant across the globe. And what does the NWO do? Cause a problem. Wait for the reaction and run in with the solution. They printed all this money to cause inflation. Now they're going to wait for the reaction once corporations start cutting back. And that was the whole purpose of the Inflation Reduction Act, better known as the Build Back Better. And we know it should be called the Fourth Industrial Revolution because it's where the robots, algorithms, and drones take over the economy, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And we have Henry Kissinger talking about the confrontation between China and the U.S. And guys, we know this was planned a long time ago. That's the reason why I play you those Anthony Sutton videos. We're going to have the fall of America to Babylon, along with the United States World Reserve currency. Is the United States dollar still going to be around? Yes, but it's just going to be tokenized. But it will no longer have that strength because we see the BRICS nations, the ones who have the real resources, the real natural resources should have the power. But we know Henry Kissinger created the petrodollar, which took over the world. And China runs a dictatorship. And we know the NWO wants that across the globe. That's the whole point of blockchain. It gives them the all-seeing eye. And these CBDs and stable coins are programmable. So therefore they can tell you what, where, and when and how to buy. So we're going to see the rise of China the Dragon with that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, first of all, let's take a look at what makes up world orders. World orders are that a group of countries across the world agree to a set of rules, and they agree to play by them. The second is there's a balance of power so that no power feels that it can subjugate a neighbor. But then the third part of this is a consensus that everyone accepts this. It's almost too utopian to come about. And so what's emerging right now, which I think is a danger, is a Chinese-centered order and a U.S.-centered order, and that we're breaking down again. And that's not a healthy outcome. It's not the outcome we want. But that gets to the economics. And that's what I wanted to touch on, because the economics are that China, I think in 2016-17, invested $53 billion in the United States. Last year, $1 billion. So there's already a decoupling. There's already a breaking down. And the question is, how does this play out right now? And so I think you're going to see, in an economic sense, you're going to see these two worlds, but it's not going to be that neat. I think you're going to see the evolution of regional organizations, and regional, because it's so hard to create a world order, I think you're going to see regional orders spring up. And then you have links between regional orders, but they will be very much guided by economic interests, social interests, and also security interests. You see things like the Quad, like the Abraham Accords, so ad hoc, not inflexible alliances, and that seems to me what's emerging.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.